All right, a whole lot to talk about here in this Tuesday, January 15th edition of the Carolina Weather Video. There's a look at the radar during the 5 o'clock hour this morning in the foothills and the mountains, the Virginia border area, seeing a pretty good area of some rain. And it is that northwestern part of North Carolina that's going to have the most significant rain totals. I'll show you more on that in just a second. That fetch of moisture is all the way down into parts of the deep south, Louisiana, even the Gulf of Mexico. And a bit of a lull in the heavier precip down in Louisiana and Mississippi right now, but that's going to be picking back up. In fact, you have ice storm warnings remaining in effect for parts of the Delta region, even North Louisiana, up into parts of Tennessee. Winter weather advisories surrounding that. All that's due to primarily to some freezing rain as well as some sleet. Look at that messy situation there across the lower Mississippi Valley into the Tennessee Valley over the past 24 hours. That is with an area of low pressure over Mississippi that will very slowly move eastward and in our direction. Now for us, we've had a cold front slide just to our south, some cooler temperatures spilling in, and we will not see much temperature movement today. And again, you notice the northwestern and western parts of North Carolina, South Carolina seeing the heaviest rain totals. The amounts taper off pretty significantly as you go south and east from there. Those rain totals today, tonight, and into parts of tomorrow. All right, a whole lot to talk about. Let's continue on with the modeling. There's what it looks like on the GFS for today and then into tomorrow. That low pressure moving through. And it's going to be kind of a cool day today in many spots, a little bit milder tomorrow. And you can see what's going on back here in Texas as we see the very beginnings of this next storm system begin to take shape. Up in the upper levels, here's how this begins to unfold. Let's see. Right there, that upper level low begins to close off in Texas, Louisiana, and Arkansas. This is the European model. This is a valid Wednesday evening. And then by the time we get out to 66 hours on the European, this is Thursday early afternoon, it's sitting there over parts of Mississippi, still pretty intense closed upper air low. Now let me show you finally on the European up to 78 hours. It opens up finally as it pushes into Georgia and the Carolinas, but there's kind of been a trend of this staying a little bit stronger with each run, and I think that general trend could continue. Now the NAM continues to go nuts. This is the 6C NAM, and it still has it as a closed two contour upper air low over Georgia and South Carolina as we get into late Thursday night and Friday morning. The NAM timing is also much quicker, and as a result on the NAM you wind up with a surface map that looks something like that. Okay, let me step you through the GFS and the European though, and this is the European model at the surface at 72 hours. This is Thursday evening. The rain is spread into much of the Carolinas, and most of that is indeed rain. The freezing line up at 5,000 feet is up in the mountains. Now it does get way down into Alabama, and so certainly on the back side of this, the precip ends could be a shot of some snow showers in the Tennessee Valley. Now you go 6 hours later on the European, and that's what it looks like as you get into the early morning hours Friday morning. And at that point in time, you have seen the freezing line at 5,000 feet begin to crash southward. Okay, so you got to 84 hours, and that's what the freezing line looks like, roughly I-40 down through the mountains, and at that time the precipitation is pulling away. So at face value, the European shows a lot of rain for the Piedmont, maybe ending as a brief shot of some snow in a few spots, but it would be brief on the European. All right, on the GFS, this is the 0Z run. Haven't pulled the 6Z yet, but this is the 0Z run, and pretty healthy looking system. Again, this has trended stronger, as I kind of think it might continue to on the recent modeling, is that a lot of times the models begin to get a feel of these pieces of upper level energy, and they really begin to see how intense they might be as it pulls into our area. So again, this is Thursday early afternoon. Now the timing is getting quicker with this. That's one reason why I'm not as terribly excited about snow opportunities, because of the time of day. Originally this was like a Thursday night deal. Now it looks like it may be more like Thursday afternoon into early evening. So that's Thursday on the GFS. At the same time, there's the 850 millibar temperatures, pretty warm all across the Carolinas, relatively speaking. And then we go 6 hours later, Thursday evening, pretty good shield of precip covering all the Carolinas. All right, freezing line up at 5,000 feet plunges southward to around Charlotte, Raleigh, and below zero up in Greensboro. So again, any precipitation after that point could be in the form of snow, and that's what's still yet to fall as the precip is pulling away. And at that point in time, there's your freezing line again on the GFS. So I think you're looking at a scenario again on the GFS where you have rain, could end as a brief period of snow. That would not be a big deal. I don't think I stuck the Canadian model in there, but again, that's kind of my thinking right now. Rain maybe ending as a little period of snow across parts of the Piedmont. At the moment, I just don't think it's going to be a big deal in terms of snow. There's a chance some folks could see some flakes flying, but I just don't, just due to the timing of the day, the warm ground temperatures, and just because you're dealing with the temperatures aloft really not cooling down enough during the height of the storm to cause a big deal. Now, let me say this. If the system were to trend a little bit stronger, you get a little bit more of a potent system, some more cooler temperatures aloft, more dynamic cooling, then maybe we could trend towards something a little bit more significant. Now, in the mountains, I do think there's a better chance of some more significant type of snow totals. Finally, there comes our cold shot next week on the European. It's kind of in and out on the European, more of a more repetitive shots of cold air in the longer range of the GFS. We'll see. I think overall, late January and February, we'll feature some pretty good blasts of cold air from time to time. All right, that is it for today's edition of the Carolina Weather Video. Thanks for watching. Have a wonderful day, and God bless.